Hello and welcome along to Mondo Chalavet Movies. This is going to be what movies I watched in the month of March 2021. Also a quick unboxing, let's hope it went better than the last one, and also some shout outs. So the first movie I watched was, and also I'm going to have my recommended movie of the month, which is a bit of a surprise actually, and it was a surprise to me. The first movie I watched was the extra movie on here. It's the earliest movie from this director here, Yashiro Ozu. And it's from 1932 and it's black and white, silent. So this film deals with two young brothers who are bullied at school, and they sort their problems out, and they then find out that their father is bullied at his job or ridiculed at his job, which they can't understand because they think that the father should be, you know, tough as boots and he can look after himself, and he can't really do that. And it's quite an interesting film to find that in 1932 that this was even talked about, this kind of subject. It's one that I've never really seen in an old film, but very watchable and well done as well. And it did spur me on to watch more of his films, which I did in the month of March. And I started off at this one because it was the oldest one in his in all the discs that I've got of his. Got quite a few of his discs now, thanks to the Movie Hater, who gave them on subscriber mail. So the next film I watched was a 1929 film called The Last Warning, from Paul Lenny. And this one here it was adapted from a Broadway play of the same name. You can kind of tell it's a play the way it's done, but it's a really good kind of murder mystery, or is it? And I did find it amazing to think that this film was so engaging, even from 1929, as most of these silent films are. There's really something about it, and I find I can get through this film without any language. I do think that it doesn't need it, because the story is told that well as a silent film. If some people who don't watch silent films, they think that there's a lot to be, what's the point? But when you watch a silent film and you've got to kind of roll with it and make up your own mind to what you're watching to a certain extent, I think it makes it better in some ways. Say for instance, if this film was made 3 years later as a talkie, I don't know if I would like it so much. Strange, isn't it? But a lovely version from Eureka, this. Beautiful slipcover, obviously limited edition. There's the original cover there. And highly recommended. So this director was penciled in to direct the 1931 classic Universal horror film Dracula with Bela Lugosi, but he didn't get the chance to play him because he died of sepsis, actually, from an infected tooth, believe it or not. And so what could have been, but this film is absolutely brilliant. I think it's his last film as well. So highly recommended if you like that sort of thing. If you're a fan of silent films, I do recommend this one. The next film was also by Yashiro Ozu. I reckon I'm not saying that right. And this film was called A Mother Should Be Loved. And it's from 1934, black and white again. Unfortunately, the start of it is missing, lost, and the end of it is lost. You do get a brief description of what happened at the start and what happened at the end. The story itself is about somebody who is the mother. She's bringing up this family when the husband dies in a work-related accident, and it's about the two kids that she's looking after. And I think it's about, you should honour your mother because she's, you know, the person who's looking after you. And I think one of them doesn't really do that, and it's about how they're growing up without a father. Quite a good film, actually. Sad it hasn't got the start and the ending on, but even so, I did really enjoy it, and it does sort of tell you what actually happened in the end. But very good film as well. The next one was another Yashiro Ozu film, and this film was called The Onis Son. Now this was the first one that I've seen as a talkie from Ozu, and it's from 1936. It might have been his first talkie actually, and this deals with a man who grows up, a young kid who grows up, and he's like a mummy's boy, and he grows up and gets his own family, and the mother goes to see this new family, and they're up and coming, and she thinks that they are well-to-do. I think the son has portrayed himself as well-to-do, but he's not as high up as she thought on the social ladder, and this causes a bit of strange friction between them. It's quite a strange film for me, because I do think that maybe in the culture of Japan, it's frowned upon that you don't succeed. Now this fella for me was a teacher, and he had succeeded, but his mother was a bit disappointed with him. But that whole film is about the disappointment, but how they rectify that. So I thought this was quite an interesting film as well. And like I say, from the 1930s, you're getting something that's a bit different, a bit that takes you out of films that you usually look at in general, and it offers something that's different, but really well directed. So I can honestly recommend these 3 early Ozu films. I'm dying to look into more of his stuff as well. So the next one I watched was a collection. Now I've watched 2 of the 4 discs, or shall I say 1.5 of the 2 discs. And this is about the early filmmakers in Hollywood. And the one I've watched all of the movies by Alice Guy Blache. I'm going to say that's her name. She's French. And believe it or not, she is the first she is the first person ever to introduce a story into silent films, because before that it was just like pictures of and you see them all on YouTube, trains coming into stations, people leaving work. I think the one where there's somebody in the garden just walking around, that was the first ever bit of footage ever shot at all on camera. It's only about 3 seconds long, but I'll try and put that in a link in the description down below. But this girl here, she actually started the fact of saying, why don't we tell a story with the black and white, with the films? So that's what they did. And it's got some of hers coming from 1911, believe it or not. And she had a very, it does have a documentary about her as well, and it does talk about the fact that her daughter went to the library for film and said, can I find all my, I don't think the daughter knew that her mother directed films, so she went to the library of movies and said, can you get the movies out? And they'd never ever heard of her, so they had to go and dig in deep and realised that she had made all these films, which were kind of lost, because I think they were saying back in the day that when women make films, they were kind of just put on the shelf and forgotten about, whereas when men made the films, they were more sort of considered to be watchable, which is a strange thing to think of now, but in them times they were sort of passed off as being not that more important. But looking at them, they're really, really good. So there's a lot of firsts in this box set, and also as well the first ever Charlie Chaplin film where he's dressed as a tramp, but he looks a little bit different as well, because he's got a full moustache, not the Hitler moustache, that Hitler copied off Charlie Chaplin. And you've got a lot of stuff to unpack in here, and obviously I haven't even touched the disc 3 and 4, but I do highly recommend this. There's a lot of stuff in here to be enjoyed, and like I say, I haven't scratched the surface. The films are getting longer and longer as I'm going into them, and also it's going to have a 1914 film with starring Oliver Hardy as well, or he's got a part in it, so I can't wait to see that. The next film was part of the Gamera box set, and this is Gamera versus Giger, and I hope I'm getting these right. And this is 1970, and this one, and then straight after that we'll watch Gamera versus Ziggura, and that's from 1971. These 2 films here are absolutely nuts. It's what everything I like about kaiju films. Your massive monsters, it's just a rampage, and also the villains in the piece, they're just completely crazy. The premise, it's a lot of stuff in outer space as well, which I do really like in these movies. Aimed for kids, obviously. It's they've got some good quality transfers on them as well, and they're just so funny, because even back in the day they couldn't have thought it was serious. It's just preposterous. And Gamera, without giving too much away, he always gets flattened at the start of the film, lies on his back for most of the film, and then comes back to save the day at the end. But that doesn't take anything away from the fact that these films are so enjoyable. But so they're the last sort of 70s ones. The next one on our list is Gamera Super Monster, which is 1980, and that'll be the end of the Showa era box set. We'll be moving on to the next box set soon, but I've had a great time with this set thus far, and we really enjoyed this run through the Gamera films, not even knowing anything about Gamera. And also it makes you hungry for everything as well. Obviously I've just watched Godzilla vs Kong, which I really enjoyed, but I'll talk about that in my next video, which will be, well, the next month video in April. But I do really recommend it. So this takes me into what movie I recommend for the month of March. And my favourite movie this month that we watched is A Perfect Getaway. Now I bought this for £2 in Poundland, thinking, well, you know, it's got a decent cast, If it's rubbish, it's rubbish. If it's not, you know, whatever. Didn't have much hopes for it. I do urge everybody, if you get this film, to watch the director's cut. I think it's got an extra 10 or 15 minutes in, and it's much better than the theatrical cut. I think I've seen an alternative ending as well, which is rubbish. So a brief synopsis of this movie is that there's a honeymooning couple here, and they go to Hawaii, or an island on Hawaii. They get off and they go on a sort of nature trek all around the island that they're on. And what happens is they bump into two different couples. There's Thor there as well. So this couple here are then face to face with these couples in different scenarios and all together, and they wonder, are they the killers or not? And that's about all I can tell you without giving anything more away, but it has a lot of twists and turns in it. It's absolutely brilliant. And when it first came on, I thought it was going to be a right load of rubbish. It didn't look any good at all. But after about 10 or 15 minutes, I started to get into it, and me and my wife had a great time with it. So £2 from Poundland. If ever I'm in Poundland, I'm going to see if I can pick up a few of these. I haven't seen any more. This is the only one I've ever seen. So if I get some, I'm going to give some away in the future videos. But I do highly, highly recommend this movie. It's just such a laugh, and it's such a great story as well. But like I say, twists and turns abound. So highly, highly recommended. Strange that a £2 Blu-ray from Poundland is going to be my pick of the month. Okay, so let's have an unboxing. Now, previously you know that I unboxed this, the Demons Return 4K Blu-ray from Arrow. Now, I found out a lot of people have commented on my video that I put on for this, and also I've looked around online, and it seems to be that, if you can imagine this, there must have been a big list for people who bought the Blu-ray and a big list for people who bought the 4K, and it seems like they've mixed the list up. So everyone who ordered the 4K is getting the Blu-ray, and everyone's who got a Blu-ray is getting a 4K replacement disc. So that is about the maddest thing you'll ever see. And between people talking on comments, we think this is going to cost Arrow quite a little bit of money for that really, really textbook error mistake. Wow. So that was the unboxing I did the other day. So the update is, there's no update from Arrow yet, but I would imagine that someone's head will roll about that one. Okay, so let's see when I unbox this one, if it's going to be the right one that I ordered the other day from Amazon. So this pickup is Humanoids from the Deep from 88 Films. Now, I did want this one because it's not really part of any line. It's not part of the Italians or the slasher classics. I did think that when I saw it, the slipcover looks that good on it, that I thought there's no way I'm going to let this one go and sit on it. So I got it immediately. It just took a little bit to arrive. So I'm so glad to get this one. I've got this one previous. This is the Region A Shout Factory disc. And this one was the only one available for a long time. It's never been released uncut in the UK ever till now. And this one here, it's got a decent print, it's got some good extras on it. It's got a little booklet in it as well. And that one there will have some stuff in it as well, exclusive stuff in it. And like I say, you do get a booklet there with that. It was a very controversial cover at the time, that cover. It wasn't liked. It was released in the UK very much heavily cut on VHS, and it didn't have anything to do with that cover wasn't on there. So I'm just going to give this a little bit of a open, and I'll look inside. Okay, so I've opened that up, keeping the shrink wrap on as it is at the moment. So that's the cover there. I am going to flip the art because obviously, why wouldn't you? Because it's there is a different art in the box there. Actually, that's the alternative art that is in this set as well. On the other side of the cover is this cover here. So there's the alternative cover there, and I'll be flipping that. And also, it's the same nearly as the one on here, the alternative cover on here, but it's not. It's got a little bit of a difference on as well. So that's quite good to have them two sort of covers on go. I like this cover the best on this release though. This one doesn't have that cover on at all, unfortunately, because I think it's a really good cover. Okay, so that's the cover changed. although you never see it because it'll be in the slip box. I do like that cover. And in the box you also get as well, you get this booklet here, which is quite a thick booklet actually. You got a lot of different covers on there as well. You get a lot of text in it, and some pictures such as that. Get some pictures of, it's quite a gory film this, I've got to admit, more gory than you would think. It's from 1980. It stars Doug McClure, who is a very much sought after actor back in the day, not so much at this point in his career. It also features the late great Vic Morrow, who was the unfortunate man who died in the helicopter crash on the set of the Twilight Zone movie in 1981. Now that was a tragedy on that set. Also there's a nice poster here which seems to be quite thick as well, and you do get that one there, that cover, that sort of new cover. Not a bad cover actually. I didn't know what this was, but it's actually somebody's legs. I thought they were looking through some kind of cave, but it's definitely some legs, and if you know the story you know why that is. I do think that sometimes these covers, when they come out, the posters, they're of a size and shape that they're quite difficult to frame if you wanted to frame it. I like the fact that they've done that though. So that's it back together. I do believe that all the extras on the other disc are ported over to this one. This is region A locked, by the way, and this looks like it's region B locked. You get it's a mono soundtrack. I don't know what the soundtrack is on that one, but I think it's probably the same. And it's a new 4K scan though, so this one here looked quite good, but I do think that this one's obviously got to have the edge, and I'm really glad I got the slipcase as well, because obviously you know me slipcases. That's a nice slipcase there, one that's quite striking as well. So yeah, so I'm interested to see what this looks like, because this one looked okay, but I want to see if this one you can generally see that is a 4K scan. So I think it's now time for some shout outs. So the first channel I'd like to give a shout out to is Robafetts Bounty. Now Rob is nearly on 300 subscribers, and I think he's well deserved to get to 300. I do see him more often now because he's on the live stream with Jodie Paul and Blu-ray Bullet Brit on a Sunday night on Jodie Paul's channel. So I would like to give him a shout out because I do think that he deserves to be well up to the 300, and also his channel is really, really good. And when he's on the live stream, he's always he's so good fun to watch, and he's got some great banter about him as well. So Robafetts Bounty, get over there and let's see if we can get him to 300 subscribers, because he will be, but let's see if we can get him there quite soon. And the last channel I'd like to give a shout out to is Popcorn Chat. Now Popcorn Chat has a great channel, and I've just recently subscribed to her, and I do want to watch more stuff with her, but she's got a very varied videos on there, and they're so watchable. And I did like the one that she tried out, some popcorn with different flavors, and some of them were very hot and some of them were very disgusting flavors, which I thought that was just an absolutely brilliant video to have with Popcorn Chat, of course, why not. And I do urge you to get across to her channel, because it's a great channel, and she's got a lot of stuff, a lot of different content there, live streams, she does things with reviews, all this type of stuff. She's getting involved with the 10 tag videos that everyone seems to be doing at the moment. So that's Robafetts, that's Popcorn Chat and Robafetts Bounty. So two great channels to add your watching on YouTube. So thanks a lot for watching. I'm still feeling the aftermath of the 8-hour long live stream, 8-hour 9-minute live stream that I did on Jason Brett's channel, which was absolutely amazing. I really enjoyed it, and I don't think I've ever been on anything for 8 hours and it seemed like 8 minutes kind of. So I'll have to go and edit this. Will probably take about a week to edit it, to edit all the mistakes out, because it's as if I've got a mouthful of marbles. Okay, so thanks for watching, you take care, and I'll see you next time.